I don't think social anxiety is something that ever fully goes away from you. I don't think it's a flu that you just get over one day or a problem that you solve and then put away in a lockbox. I think you just get better at carrying it. I think it becomes like I guess to describe it, it's like a piece of luggage that you're always traveling with. Sometimes it's lighter and you barely even notice that it's there in the first place. On other days, it's filled with lead, and every single step you take, you can feel the weight of it. For me, it didn't just appear one day. It was like this slow erosion. It started very early. I got picked on a lot growing up for being short or weird or saying dumb things before I finished thinking about it first. Or for just being an easy target that people knew would not fight back. Because I didn't want to fight people. I was very non-conflictive, non-confrontational is the word for it. Like when you're a kid, you don't have the tools to really process it anyways. You don't have the perspective to understand that it says everything about them and nothing about you. You just absorb it. You internalize it. It becomes part of your operating system. I touched on this a good bit in one of my previous videos, one of my more recent videos. But in this, I wanted to really get into the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. And when you get fucked with, when it happens, it can stick with you. Long after the bullies are gone, long after you've moved on, their voices are still there. You just don't forget that feeling. You don't forget what it's like to be looked at, laughed at, or pushed out of a social circle. So you adapt. You get quieter, more reserved. You build walls. You become an expert at self-censorship, thinking before every single word, carefully crafting each sentence to be as inoffensive and invisible as possible. Sometimes you think too much. You overthink until the moment has passed, until the conversation has moved on, and you've said nothing at all. And over time, you're just trying to build this version of yourself that's just trying not to be noticed. Because for a long time, being noticed meant something bad was about to happen. It's a warning signal, that flight or fight response, that twist, that knot in the pit of your stomach. And then something weird happens. At least it did for me when I got older. Around 18, 19, 20 years old, I started to get tired of it. Tired of this cage. I started to push out of it. Not all at once, but in little increments. Forcing myself to talk more to people, to be a little more outgoing and engaging, to let myself be seen again. And what I found was disorienting. People actually seemed to like me, genuinely. My energy or my personality and the weird ways that I can present myself. And that messed with my head in a whole new way because it didn't line up with the data that I had collected growing up. The evidence my anxiety had been using to justify its existence for so many years was suddenly being contradicted. So you end up with this weird split inside of you. Logically, on the surface, you know that people don't see you the way that you were treated back then. You have new evidence. But emotionally, deep down, that old programming is still running. That feeling of being on the verge of ridicule, it doesn't just disappear. And neither does that feeling. Even now, I still deal with it, especially in crowded places. And for an example, in recent memory, I went to a concert last year and there was a massive crowd, more people in one place than I think I've ever been around, and I should have been fine. I was with friends, nothing was happening, nobody was bothering me, but I felt this irrational, almost primal fear, this sense of dread, like something was wrong. Like I was being watched and judged and dissected and silently made fun of by thousands of people at the same time. To the point where I genuinely felt like I could just break down and cry right there in the middle of the crowd. And the worst part is, it doesn't make sense. Your rational brain is screaming at you. This is ridiculous. You are safe. Nobody cares. But your body doesn't care. It's reacting to a ghost. It's responding to a threat that isn't there anymore. And I think that's what people who don't have anxiety don't understand. It's not just being nervous. It's your brain and your body working against you at the same exact fucking time. It's a civil war inside of your own skin. And where things started to shift for me was, despite all of that internalized chaos, throughout my adult life, I've had complete strangers walk up to me and compliment my hair, my makeup, my outfits, my piercings, my tattoos, my personality, my energy, unprompted, telling me that I look good and that they like my style. And that forced me to confront something. Most of the time, people aren't judging me the way I think that they are. If anything, I stand out. And yeah, I get it. That visibility can be a source of anxiety, but it also means something else. It means people are noticing me for good reasons too. And I had to start accepting that not every glance was negative. Not every look is criticism. Sometimes people are just curious. Sometimes they don't even give a shit at all. And sometimes they actually like what they're looking at. And once you start realizing that, it takes a little bit of the power away from that fear. Not all of it, but enough to breathe. Because the truth is, social anxiety doesn't go away because you fix it. It gets quieter when you prove it wrong time and time again. And that's really the only way through it. You don't wait until you're ready, because you'll never feel ready. You go to that party regardless. You speak regardless of that fear you have in the pit of your stomach. And you show up to whatever occasion it is, regardless of how you feel about it beforehand. And yes, it'll feel uncomfortable. But every time you do it and nothing bad happens, you chip away at that fear. You create a new piece of evidence. And eventually it stops feeling like something that's been controlling you. And rather starts to feel like something you can actually manage. Not gone entirely, but manageable. And if you deal with this too, just know this. That voice in your head telling you everyone is judging you, it's usually lying to you. It's using old data from a different version of the world. Most people are too caught up in their own lives, in their own insecurities to care. And the ones who do notice you, a lot of the time, they're not thinking what you think they are. So, you keep moving. You keep taking the step. You keep showing up. You keep letting yourself be seen, even when every fiber of your being is screaming at you to hide. and you find your own ways to manage it. For me, sometimes it's just finding a quiet corner in a crowded room for a few minutes, a moment to reset. Sometimes it's focusing on just one person's face in a sea of strangers. Sometimes it's just accepting that the fear is there, like the weather, and deciding to go for a walk in the rain regardless. Because the goal isn't to silence the voice. The goal is to turn down the volume, to make it background noise instead of the main track. It's about providing to yourself through your own actions that you are the one in control, that you can feel that primal fear and still order the coffee, still go to the party, still get on that stage. It's a quiet, ongoing battle. There are good days and there are bad days. Days where the luggage feels light and days where you can barely lift it, but the fight itself becomes part of you. And in learning to live with it, you don't just become a person who carries anxiety. And that's not nothing. In fact, in its own strange way, it's a kind of strength. And that's more than enough.
It's on earth to save me. Just don't let me go.